And welcome back to the Daily Dribble podcast, guys. As always, I'm your host, Nick Zammit, here back with what might arguably be one of the biggest episodes since the podcast's inception. Now, I often allude to, if you're a long-time listener, you'll know that I mentioned that normally the off-court action of the NBA is almost as spectacular, as what happens on the court. There's been no better example of that than this week. As we rapidly approach the NBA trade deadline, the league has undergone a monumental, essentially it's been flipped on its head. Some of the trades that have gone down are going to potentially shape the league for the next 5 to 10 years. It has been a startling week. I personally am still trying to come to grips with what has actually gone down. But the idea for today's show is I'm essentially going to run through a couple of the minor trades that have gone down over the course of the last few days, and then get into these two blockbuster trades, give my grades, give my thoughts on them. I'm sure a lot of you guys who are tuning into this, you've no doubt seen a lot of the reports come out on, namely the big trade involving the Mavs and Lakers, as well as the one involving the Spurs, Bulls, and Kings there. But I thought I'd give my 2 cents on it, and I think doing that will help me process it a little bit better as well, because as the reports first came through, it was kind of hard to believe. I thought it was fake news. Nevertheless, I will get into that in a moment. Before I do so, though, a big shout out to both Stadium Scene and The Cover, both those networks continuing to showcase all of my work here at the Daily Dribble, as well as a whole host of other content creators in and around Australia, New Zealand, the US, and Canada. Very, very appreciative for all their continued hard work and support of me. It ensures the continued success and growth of the show. So very appreciative there. And likewise to all you guys tuning in via the socials, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. As I said, it's been a bumper week across all of them. So I appreciate you guys getting all the latest news from the NBA and the NBL via the Daily Dribble social media channels. Okay, deadline deals. As I mentioned, today's purely going to be based on the trade deadline and the deals that have gone down thus far. Now, at the time of recording, the trade deadline is set to end tomorrow. I have no doubt across the next 24 hours or so, 24 to 36 hours, there is going to be a multitude of other trades coming through. There's been a lot of reports. Jimmy Butler is a big name that's potentially going to find a new home. Likewise, Kevin Durant, another name that's been floated quite heavily as well. So, as I said, be sure to keep up to date with all the socials for all those latest moves as they break. It's going to be a fascinating next day or two, to say the least. Nevertheless, let's get into the trades. So I'm tongue-tied. I feel like I've been like that the last couple of days since all these trades have gone down. I haven't been able to collect my thoughts. It's been a real scatterbrain. But I'll do my best to keep it together here. All right, let's get into the smaller trades. Firstly, starting with the trade that the Utah Jazz received PJ Tucker, Mo Bamba, and a future second-round pick and cash. Whilst in exchange, the Clippers got Drew Eubanks and Patty Mills. Now, for the Clippers, this one gives them optionality at the trade deadline and the buyout market, moves them $4 million below the tax line, which for them is quite advantageous as they try and make a few moves around the edges. For the Jazz, though, they've already waived Mo Bamba. PJ Tucker as well is going to be floated elsewhere. Bamba, though, at 26 years of age, he's averaged 4.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 1 block in a little under 13 minutes per game with the Clippers this season. I'm sure a team will take a chance on him. I feel like he still has a spot within the league. You wouldn't think a major role, but you still feel as if there's work to be done there for Bamba. I've no doubt a team will take a chance on him, and he will be in the league with another team once again. Outside of that, this trade wasn't a huge needle mover. It kind of feels like a bit of a precursor to other moves being made. But for the Jazz there, getting another second-round pick certainly helps. Another trade that went down just the other day, the Dallas Mavericks receiving Caleb Martin from the Philadelphia 76ers, in exchange giving up Quentin Grimes and a 2025 second-round pick. Now, in addition to the move that I'm about to mention and get into, which you've all seen surrounding the Lakers and Mavs, off the back of this move as well, Dallas are going to be super, super strong on the defensive end. Granted, Kyrie is, I wouldn't say an elite defender. More than holds his own, as does Clay. But with AD, Caleb Martin coming into the fold now, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, a shame that Lively's gone down. They've got a lot of finely tuned defensive players, which I think is going to be very, very advantageous come the playoffs. Solid bit of business, I think, for the Mavs, though. Adding Caleb Martin, as I said, a huge asset on the defensive end. Can catch fire from three. He's struggled a little bit this season, but gives them another option to hit the deep ball. Okay, let's get into it. The two major trades that have gone down. I'll start first and foremost with arguably one of the most mind-blowing trades in NBA history. It caught literally everyone off guard, including the players that were involved in it. I'm still trying to piece it all together. It's as a Lakers fan, it's been a bit of a whirlwind of emotions, but the deal was as follows. The LA Lakers, the purple and gold, they received Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris. The Dallas Mavericks received Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and the Lakers' 2029 first-round pick. And the Utah Jazz, the third team involved in this one, received Jalen Hood-Schifino, a 2025 second-round pick via the Clippers, should I say, and a Mavs 2025 second-round pick there as well. So what I wanted to do for these two big trades in particular was give my grades for them. And I'll start first and foremost with the Lakers. I've given them an A. Now, factoring in both age and production, the Lakers scored. Let me start that again. You say I'm tongue-tied. I'm all over the place. Factoring in both age and production, the Lakers have absolutely scored probably the most coveted basketball player in the league that's not named Victor Wembanyama. Doncic is only 25 years of age. Now, to land a player that is as good as he is at the age he is absolutely bonkers. I think many people forget that he actually led the Mavs to the Western Conference Finals last season. I just can't fathom, or sorry, to the NBA Finals, should I say. I just can't fathom as to why they've let him go. The implications for them will go far beyond this season. For the Lakers, though, they've secured their new face of the franchise. LeBron, 40 years of age, his time is starting to run a little bit thinner. He's still got miles in the league. So the way he's producing this season, he's still one of the best players in the league. But now the Lakers can start to turn their attention into the future. At 25 years of age, they've got a guy that can carry this franchise for the next 10 years. Now, reports coming out that the Mavs weren't happy with Luca's conditioning, all that nonsense, bollocks. If you have a look at social media over the last day or two, he looks in ripping condition. I think he's going to be a huge, huge asset to this team. Granted, on the defensive end, losing AD, it's looking a little bit shaky at the moment. I feel in the next 24 to 36 hours, there's still moves to be made for the Lakers. Offensively, though, this is just incredible. And the fact that they didn't have to give up Austin Reeves, Rui, Dalton Connect, too much draft asset, they've done a phenomenal job here. Therefore, the Lakers get an A from me. To the Mavericks, I've given them a D. Now, I found this one really difficult. It's crazy that the Mavs are probably better poised to win a championship this season with Anthony Davis in the fold than what they were with Luca. Now, assuming full postseason health, AD is just a monster. A monster on both ends of the floor, arguably one of, if not the best two-way player in the league. Crazy that I've given him a D, given that fact. I really don't think, unless your hand is forced, you can trade Luca. He's committed every fiber of his being to this franchise. Just last week, he bought a $15 million mansion there, kind of solidifying, I guess, where he felt in Dallas. Like, he was committed there. He was staying there. He bought a new house. He was really blindsided by this one. So I don't think unless your hand is forced, you can trade Luca. I give him a downgrade for that. As I said, reports have come out. They've essentially said that they didn't trust Luca's conditioning and injury history, whilst being skeptical that he'd be worth the $345 million Supermax deal he was up for this summer. Now, for the Mavs, though, with this deal, they have ducked under the luxury tax this season, which is a handy little point to make note of. But the fact is, if Luca isn't worth the Supermax, no one is. He's a 25-year-old player with 5 first All-NBA team nods. He's a perennial MVP candidate, led the league in scoring last season. If he's not worth $345 million, I don't know who is. Really bizarre there from the Mavs. And as I said, you just don't trade a player like this. I just don't get it. 25 years of age. You've traded Luca for a guy, and I love AD. As a Lakers man, I've been delighted by what he's done for the franchise, helped them win a title. You've traded Luca for an injury-prone big man who's 6 years older, whilst only getting one first-round pick. We speak about Luka being injury-prone. AD is just as injury-prone, currently on the sidelines at the moment. Don't know. Crazy stuff, I think. I've given them a D. I won't elaborate too much there. Again, I'm guessing a lot of you guys who are tuning into the show, you've read and seen all the reports that have come out across the last few days. But I think this is a negative move for the Mavs. As I said, they're probably better poised to win a championship this year, potentially next. But across the next 5 to 10 years, they've certainly done themselves a disservice, I believe. Coming to the Utah Jazz, just finally there, I've given them an A-. Now, the Jazz have come winners from this trade for literally doing nothing. They took on Jalen Hood-Schifino's salary. They've picked up 2 second-round picks for their trouble. Great bit of business for them, I think. It just continues to build the vast asset chest that they have at their disposal. They're building quite a nice collection there. Now, from reports, Danny Ainge, the GM there, wasn't aware that this deal was actually helping get Luka to the Lakers. Nevertheless, I think the Jazz have come out of this really, really well. As I said, getting draft assets for nothing, taking on Schifino's contract, which is peanuts. Grouse. No problems whatsoever. So, well done to the Utah Jazz. Just another note I wanted to make point of here is the fact that because of this Lakers and Mavs trade, Luka is now no longer eligible for a 5-year, $345 million Supermax extension. After being traded away from the Mavs, joining the Lakers, he's now only eligible for a 5-year, $229 million contract extension. That's $116 million less than that potential Supermax. Now, that's absolutely crazy. It's hard to feel sorry for him. $229 million, nobody in their right mind is going to complain at that. But that is a pretty hefty blow there. Missing out on $116 million. If you're Luka, you're going to the glitz and glam of LA. You've also lost $116 million in the process. So a big blow there to him, I would imagine. But for this trade in particular, it's going to be crazy, I think, to see how this unfolds for both teams and the league as a whole. In recent memory, not that I can recall, I don't think there's been a more impactful trade. That not only does it impact the Mavs, the Lakers, this impacts the league as a whole. Now, what this will do for the Lakers acquiring Luka, the globalization of the Lakers will only continue to expand. It's really, it was startling. As I said, this came through for me here in Australia Sunday afternoon. Honestly, thought it was fake news. Was delighted that it wasn't. It was a little bit bittersweet over the last day or two, seeing the video montages and the interviews from AD, Max Christie. The AD kind of video he put up in particular was pulled at the heartstrings a little bit. He has been a huge contributor for the Lakers. As I said, helped them win a title. But I'm very, very excited for the future with Luka Doncic at the helm. I just might think as well, for the first time in LeBron James's career, he will probably not be the center of a team, the focal point, should I say. This will be Luka's team, because as it's going to be his for the next 5 to 10 years, at least, I hope. It's going to be very, very interesting to see LeBron James not as that number one guy. And to be perfectly honest, having this injection of youth and talent in Luca might just extend his career another season or two. You know, with Luca at his side, he might feel there's that potential now to grab another chip or two and add to that legacy of his. Certainly cemented as one of the greatest of all time. But I'm sure in the back of his mind, he's thinking, with Luca in the fold now, another chip or two isn't out of reach. So fantastic stuff there. As I said, a monumental trade. No doubt there's reports, there's going to be interviews, there's going to be all manner of news headlines coming out over the coming weeks. But I, for one, am certainly looking forward to them seeing Luca suit up in the purple and gold for the first time very soon. That being said, the news didn't stop there. The following day, Monday here in Australia, we had another blockbuster 3-team trade. The details of which, should I say, were the San Antonio Spurs receiving De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin, the Kings receiving Zach LaVine, Sidi Sissoko, 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks, and the Bulls receiving Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones, Zach Collins, and a 2025 first-round pick via the Spurs there. Once again, I'll give my grades on this one, starting firstly with the Spurs. I've given them an A-. Now, the Spurs have formed one of the most dynamic and dangerous duos in the league with Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox there. This is going to be an unstoppable duo in the pick and roll. Fox is one of the most dynamic players in the league, without a shadow of a doubt. And what he will do, the looks he'll be able to give Wemby are going to be incredible. This season, with Chris Paul, with De'Aaron Fox, Wemby is now playing with 2 elite point guards. I'm very, very excited to see how this plays out. The Spurs did a fantastic job. They managed to hang on to all of their young talent, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and essentially all they gave up was Zach Collins to match the salary, more or less. Trey Jones, perfect. No issues whatsoever there. They did a fantastic job. They've given themselves flexibility to make further moves should they want to. Now, as I said, I thought a deal acquiring Fox, they would have had to have given up Castle, Johnson, or Vassell. One of these 3, I thought, would have had to have been on the move. But to give up a little used backup center and Trey Jones, wow. Wowee. Well done, San Antonio. I could have probably given it an A. I've given it an A-, but they're going to be super, super fun to watch. And as I said, they've still got flexibility to make further moves should they want to. Very well done to the Spurs there. To the Sacramento Kings, I've given them a B. Zach LaVine, he joins DeRozan once again after spending 3 seasons together there in Chicago. He's certainly going to add more 3-point shooting than what Fox did. LaVine is shooting the ball incredibly well this season at 44.5% from deep, which is what the Kings need. Now, neither DeRozan or Sabonis are high volume, high make 3-point shooters. So having a guy that's dropping 44.5%, very, very handy. Now, again, the structure of this trade as well, it'll give the Kings the ability to add salary before the deadline should they want to make a move over the next day or two. Puts them about $10.5 million below the luxury tax line with 2 open roster spots there. So I think a tidy bit of business. The picks are a little bit deceiving. They're not actually that good given there's protection 1-14 via the Hornets there. Won't go into the details too much. You know, I'm not a huge... I don't really get into that much protections, where the picks are coming from, la-di-da-di-la-di-da. Like, it doesn't interest me that much. So I won't go into the details, but the picks sound better than what they actually are. So don't read into them too much. That being said, DeRozan, LaVine, Sabonis, Monk, that's tidy. That's tidy. I don't know if it makes them that much better this season or better at all. But as I said, if they can get a healthy Zach LaVine shooting the ball the way he has been this season thus far, that's a really good get for the Kings there. To the Chicago Bulls, I've given them a B-. The Bulls, they committed to the rebuild. That's really all anyone wanted to see. I think it's inevitable that Vooch will be on the way out, whether that is over the next day or two before the deadline or at season's end. Lonzo Ball, Josh Giddey, probably not, but Lonzo, even talk of Kobe White, there are other names that could potentially be moved there in Chicago as they look to really embrace that rebuild. But I think Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, they've all got potential to have their value reestablished whilst in Chicago. Huerter in particular. Now, I think many people forget that only a couple of seasons ago, he was averaging 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and shooting at 40% from 3. There's potential there for him to really kind of flourish. I think 26 years of age or so he is. So he's got time to reestablish his trade value and become potentially a somewhat lucrative chip there for the Bulls. They get their pick back. They've committed to the rebuild. They're absolutely going to be poor for the next season or two. But they weren't going anywhere anytime soon anyway. So the fact that you have embraced that, I give them, a slight bump, hence a B-. I think a good trade for all 3 teams involved. Very, very excited to see the Spurs, see if they can mount a play-in push. With this move, they're going to have to get a wriggle on. They've got the West is in such a logjam at the moment, but there's still time. I think with that, Fox, Castle, Wemby, Vassell, Johnson, there's enough talent there to get them in the play-in, isn't there? Surely. They sit on the outside looking in at the moment. I think 12th they are. They're going to have a lot of work to do. But I think if this duo and this team is as good in my head as what they are on the court, they're going to be dangerous. So keep an eye out for the Spurs. Guys, there you have it. That was a pretty quick episode recapping all the news. As I said, I'm still somewhat flustered with what's gone down this week. I'm very much looking forward to going on a little bit of a holiday to the Gold Coast this coming weekend for a couple of nights. Looking forward to getting away, hitting the reset button, just getting outside of the normal 4 walls and having a little bit of time to process what's gone down this week. As I said, if you're still listening to the show at this point, I commend you. It's been somewhat scattered and all over the place as I've been this week, but certainly appreciate you guys sticking with me. That being said, wherever you're listening to the show, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watching this one on YouTube, I'd be incredibly grateful if you could like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that fantastic stuff, and continue to support the show. Really does mean a lot. So thank you. Till next week, though, guys, keep an eye on all the socials. I have no doubt there's going to be some pretty fascinating deals done before the trade deadline over the next couple of hours. So be sure to stay up to date with all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok to get the latest news as soon as it breaks. I, for one, am certainly looking forward to seeing what unfolds. I'll be sure to break it all down with you next week, the winners and losers from that. Till then, though, guys, enjoy the off-court action, enjoy the on-court action. I can't wait to speak with you all again soon. Till then, though, remember, be good at it. See you guys.